Hello, my name is Patrick Seitz, and I'll be talking about the North American Ice Age extinction. I'll talk about what species went extinct and how they went extinct. When I first started researching this project, I was under the impression that there was a agreed upon reason why these animals went extinct. However, with further research I found that there are several reasons why these animals could have gone extinct, and each reason usually disagrees with the other. This makes it hard to understand which natural disaster actually caused the extinction of these animals. New research comes in each year pointing to different theories. So for this presentation, I will go with the most widely accepted view on why the animals went extinct, while also incorporating other ideas. First, we will talk about humans, as it's easy to understand why humans would be a prime suspect in the first place. So what do the humans actually do? It can be easy to understand and guess why the humans are prime suspects, because if you look at humans today, we have made many species go extinct. And so it's the same concept. Back then, there were humans, and they were overhunting them, and they went extinct. Secondly, we'll talk about Earth's climate and how it can change depending on where it is in the solar system. According to Milankovitch, there are three factors that dictate Earth's climate with respect to the Sun. These factors determine how much solar radiation, in other words heat, reaches the planet. These three factors are eccentricity, tilt, and precession. The first one is the eccentric shape of the Earth's orbit around the Sun, which varies from nearly circular to elliptical on a 96,000-year cycle. The reason why it has that bulge is because Jupiter, which is 4% of the mass of our solar system, has a strong gravitational effect which shifts the Earth's orbit out and then back again. Factor 2, tilt, which is the reason why we have seasons. The tilted axis of the Earth's rotation means one hemisphere is always leaning away from the Sun, causing winter, while the other is leaning toward the Sun, causing summer. The angle of this tilt varies on a cycle about 41,000 years, which changes how extreme the seasons are. If the axis is more upright, then of course the summers are going to be less warm and the winters going to be a little less cold. For factor 3 is the precession, which is the wobble of Earth's tilted axis, which moves as if it was a spinning top. What happens is the angular momentum of Earth going around and around very fast once a day causes the axis to wobble around as well. That wobble occurs on a 20,000-year cycle. The reason why there would be differences is because the Milankovitch cycle is not the only factor that influences Earth's climate. The actual cause of an ice age is the fundamental feedback in the climate system. They are most likely the result of a complicated dynamic interaction between such things as solar output, distance of the Earth from the Sun, position and height of the continents, ocean circulation, and the composition of the atmosphere. Here's an example of rapid climate change experienced by the megafauna. From this diagram we can see how the Earth's environment was changing during the extinction period. A popular way for scientists to find out what the climate was like thousands of years ago was by drilling ice cores out of the ice sheets, just like this one pictured here. From these ice cores, scientists are able to test for what was in the atmosphere at a given time, given a small picture of what it was like back then. So now that we have a basic understanding of what the natural phenomena was, let's talk about what actually occurred. So 15,000 to 11,000 years ago, around 35 or 36 genera of megafauna went extinct. And if you look to the right, you can see a few of the megafauna listed. Most commonly, people will know that we had mammoths and saber-toothed tigers that went extinct during this time. Less commonly, people will not know about the camels, lions, and horses, and even ground sloths that were prominent in North America during this time. So who were these people who killed the 35 so genera of animals? These people were called the Clovis people, and they got their name from the type of spear points they made. If you look to the right on that picture, you can see the type of spear points they made. In 1967, Paul Martin proposed the overkill hypothesis, and this essentially was thinking that the Clovis people were the ones who made the animals go extinct. The reason why he thought that it was the Clovis people is because humans showed up around 11,000 years ago and the extinction happened around the same time. So you put those two together, they sort of match, and he also had so-called evidence of extinctions happening on islands around North America. And that may be true, but just because it happens on an island doesn't necessarily mean that it happened in North America. Another reason why it's hard to say that humans were the one cause that killed all of the animals is because did they really kill all 35 genera of the animals? Most likely not. There is evidence that we killed mammoths and a few other species, but all 35, we don't have the evidence to back that up. As more research is done each year and new evidence is found, it's starting to look like climate had more of an influence than humans did. However, it is not to say that humans didn't have any impact at all. They probably did influence a couple of the genera of a species to go extinct. However, not all of them at the same time. And so it's probably not just one or the other, it's probably just a mixture of both humans and climate affecting the species. So how did the climate affect the animals during this extinction? And so if you look at the bottom right graph, and this graph goes from right to left, we can see at around 19,000 years ago, which was the last glacial maximum, we can see from then on how the temperature is rising quite rapid. And so what we think is the rapid climate change put stress on these animals, and as they tried to adapt to it, they weren't able to properly adapt, and thus leading to the decline of the species. So what other factors contributed to Earth's climate change? And like I said before, one of the factors was the Milankovitch cycle, which consists of the eccentricity, tilt, and precession of the planet. But additionally, another factor that could have contributed to the climate change of the Earth is the ocean's currents. These are responsible for moving around warm currents and cold currents. Depending on what type of current it is, it can have an effect on the Earth, which can change the climate. And if you look to the right, you'll see an example of the Earth's currents. So this brings us back to, did the humans kill all the 36 genera of megafauna, or was it climate? Probably wasn't one or the other, it was probably a mixture of both. And so the climate, what it would do is it would put strain on the animals, causing them wanting to migrate to better grounds. And so as the animals do that, they either die off from being too weak, and so only the stronger ones are left trying to migrate. And if you have humans in the picture, they are also trying to kill these animals while they try to migrate. And so as you can see, that it's probably a mixture of both climate and human stress making these animals eventually going extinct. So what do? How do we protect the Earth from natural occurring climate change and the humans of the Earth? Firstly, we can reevaluate how we treat the Earth. And if you look at present times, we can see that global warming is a very controversial topic, and it is said that if we hit a point of no return, we could have dire consequences for humans and many other species out there. It is very possible that us humans could not be around anymore. Secondly, I think it's equally important to figure out a way to cooperate with everyone who's on Earth. It's not just one country, it's all of humanity. We are all in it together. If we all come together and figure out a way to actually help the Earth and not destroy it, I'm sure that would be a very good opportunity to show how far we've come. Lastly, how do we find out the truth? For the longest time, people thought humans were the ones who made these animals go extinct, but over time, research has come in, and it looks like climate and a mixture of humans were the reasons why these animals went extinct. And even now, we still have evidence coming in disproving climate to be the cause. There is even other reasons why people think these animals went extinct. For example, a climatic occurrence, which could have been a asteroid that hit the Earth during this time and caused the extinctions of these animals. There are many different reasons why it could have happened, but to figure out the truth, people need to have an open mind and the willingness to do the research to figure out if it was indeed either climate, a climatic occurrence, or humans. So in summary, a clear reason why the megafauna went extinct is still to be debated. New evidence is brought in each year by scientists disproving and proving different theories that are out there. As of right now, it looks like humans and climate probably both played a role in making the animals go extinct, and so what we get out of this is that the Earth is a very complex system and is very hard to understand, and more research needs to be done to understand what actually happened. For the discussion questions, tell me what you think. For question 1, how should the world move forward with climate change? As of today, do you think we are doing enough for climate change? For question 2, what lessons can be learned from studying our distant past? Do you think we know all there is to know about our ancestors' past? So that concludes my disaster report on the North American Ice Age extinction. Thank you for listening.